There's a special kind of terror that comes from being watched. Not the uncomfortable feeling of eyes on you in a crowded room, but the primal fear of knowing something is observing you from the darkness, studying you, learning your patterns, waiting for the right moment. In the deep woods of Virginia's Appalachian Mountains, there's an entity that locals call the Walker in the Pines. It doesn't attack immediately, it doesn't rush, it simply appears at the edge of your vision, standing impossibly still among the trees. And once it appears, it never leaves. Night after night, it gets closer. Day after day, you feel it watching, even when you can't see it. You can run. People have tried. You can hide. That doesn't work either, because the Walker has chosen you, and what the Walker chooses, the Walker eventually claims. This is the story of Dr. Samantha Cole, who thought she was alone in the wilderness studying wildlife. She had no idea she'd become the subject of a far more terrifying observation. Welcome to the forest. The Walker is already watching. Dr. Samantha Cole had spent 3 months setting up her research station in the Monongahela National Forest, and she'd finally gotten everything exactly right. The station was a small cabin, barely more than a glorified shed, located deep in one of the most remote sections of the Virginia wilderness. Solar panels provided power for her equipment, a rain collection system gave her water, and she had enough supplies to last 6 months without resupply. Her research focus was black bear population dynamics, tracking their movements and behavior through a network of motion-activated trail cameras she'd installed throughout a 10-square-mile area. It was perfect, isolated, quiet, and exactly the kind of environment Sam needed after the chaos of university politics and her recent divorce. Out here, there were no department meetings, no ex-husband, no reminders of the life that had fallen apart. Just her, the bears, and the data. Sam was reviewing camera footage on her laptop when she first saw it. The image was from camera 7, positioned on a game trail about half a mile northwest of her cabin. The timestamp read 2:47 a.m. from 2 nights ago. A black bear had triggered the camera, passing through the frame exactly as Sam expected. But in the background, barely visible at the edge of the camera's range, was something else. A figure. Tall and thin, standing motionless among the pines. Sam zoomed in on the image, but the resolution at that distance was poor. The figure was too far away to make out details, just a dark silhouette, human-shaped, but wrong somehow. The proportions seemed off, the limbs too long, the body too narrow. Probably just a tree, Sam muttered to herself, or shadows. But when she checked the next image from the same camera, taken 30 seconds later after the bear had passed, the figure was still there, in the exact same position. And in the image after that, and the one after that, the camera had captured 23 sequential images over the course of 5 minutes. In all of them, the figure stood perfectly motionless while the wind moved the branches around it, while leaves fell, while small animals scurried past. It never moved, never shifted, just stood there, as if it was waiting for something. Sam felt a chill run down her spine. She told herself it was nothing, a trick of light and shadow, or maybe a dead tree that happened to look humanoid from this angle. She made a mental note to check camera 7's position tomorrow, maybe adjust it to get better angles. That night, Sam went to bed early, exhausted from a long day of hiking to check her cameras. The cabin was cozy, the wood stove providing warmth against the October chill. She fell asleep quickly and woke at 2:47 a.m. to the sound of footsteps outside. Sam lay perfectly still, listening. The footsteps were slow and deliberate, circling the cabin, not the heavy tread of a bear or the light patter of a deer. These were bipedal footsteps, human-sounding but with a strange cadence. Step, step, step. Each footfall measured and precise, as if whatever was out there was carefully pacing out the perimeter. Sam's hand found the flashlight beside her bed. She went to the window and shined the light outside, sweeping the beam across the clearing around her cabin. Nothing. No movement, no figure, no animals. Just trees and darkness. But the footsteps continued for another minute, completing their circuit of the cabin before finally fading into silence. Sam didn't sleep the rest of that night. She sat at her small table with a cup of tea, her bear spray and satellite phone within easy reach, watching the windows. Nothing else happened, but as dawn broke and she could finally see clearly outside, Sam noticed something that made her stomach drop. Footprints in the soft earth around her cabin. They formed a perfect circle, and they were bizarre. Too long to be human, too narrow, with a stride that suggested whatever made them had legs longer than any person's should be. Sam took photos of the prints with her phone, then grabbed her radio. She was too remote for cell service, but she had a two-way radio that could reach the ranger station 20 miles away. "Station Alpha, this is Dr. Cole at Research Station 7. Copy?" Static, then. "Copy, Dr. Cole. This is Ranger Morrison. What can I do for you?" "I had some kind of visitor last night. Large footprints around my cabin, and I heard what sounded like something walking around the structure. Possibly a bear on hind legs? Just wanted to report it in case there's an aggressive bear in the area." There was a long pause. "Dr. Cole, can you describe the footprints?" Sam described them. The elongated shape, the narrow width, the impossibly long stride. Another pause, longer this time. "Dr. Cole, I'm gonna come out to your station. Should be there in about 4 hours. In the meantime, I need you to stay inside the cabin. Do you have adequate supplies?" "Yes, but what's going on? Is there a dangerous animal?" "Just stay inside, Doctor. I'll explain when I get there." The transmission ended. Sam stood holding the radio, confused and increasingly unsettled. Morrison's tone had been serious, almost worried. What wasn't he telling her? She spent the next 4 hours reviewing more of her camera footage, checking all 30 cameras in her network. What she found made her hands shake. The figure appeared in 14 different camera locations, always at night, always at the edge of the frame, standing motionless among the trees. And as Sam traced through the timestamps, she realized the figure was moving in a pattern, a spiral, with her cabin at the center. Each night, it appeared at cameras progressively closer to her research station. Last night, it had been at camera 2, only 100 yards from her cabin. Ranger Morrison arrived at noon, his face grim. He was a man in his 50s, weathered by years in the mountains, and Sam could see he was genuinely concerned. "Show me the footage," he said. Sam pulled up the images on her laptop. Morrison studied them in silence, his jaw tightening with each photo. Finally, he sat back and rubbed his face. "That's the walker," he said quietly. "The what?" "The walker in the pines. It's, hell, I don't know what to call it. A local phenomenon, an entity. Something that's been in these mountains as long as anyone can remember. The old-timers have stories going back generations." "You're talking about it like it's a ghost or something," Sam said, trying to keep her voice steady. "I'm talking about it like something I've seen with my own eyes. 3 times in my 27 years as a ranger in these mountains, and each time it chose someone. Appeared at the edge of their camp, their cabin, their campsite. Just stood there, watching. And every night after that, it got closer." "What happened to the people it chose?" Morrison was quiet for a long moment. "2 of them got out, packed up and left the mountains immediately, never came back. Claimed they could still feel it watching them even after they left, but at least they were alive. The 3rd one," he paused. "We found him 6 miles from where he'd been camping. He'd run, tried to escape it. Coroner said he died of exposure and exhaustion, but his face..." Morrison shuddered. "He died terrified, Dr. Cole. Whatever he saw at the end, it broke something in him." Sam's throat was dry. "So what do I do?" "You leave. Today. Right now. Pack your essentials and I'll escort you back to town. Your research can wait. Your life can't." "But I've invested months in this project. All my equipment, my data." Dr. Cole, listen to me very carefully. The walker doesn't give up. Once it's chosen you, it will follow you. But there's a pattern to its behavior. It takes 7 nights to close the distance. 7 nights from first appearance to... He didn't finish the sentence. You've had 2 nights already, maybe 3 if it was watching before you noticed. That gives you 4, maybe 5 nights to get clear of these mountains. The further you get from its territory, the weaker its connection becomes. If you can make it 100 miles away before the 7th night, you might break free of it. Sam looked at her cabin, her equipment, 6 months of planning and 3 months of setup, but Morrison's expression was deadly serious, and those footprints outside were very real. "Okay," she said, "help me pack." They loaded Sam's truck with her most essential equipment and personal belongings. Morrison kept glancing at the tree line, his hand never far from the pistol on his hip. By 4 p.m., they were ready to leave. "Follow close behind me," Morrison said. "Don't stop for anything until we're at the station. And, Doctor, if you see anything standing at the side of the road, anything at all, don't look at it. Just keep driving." The drive out should have taken 2 hours on the rough Forest Service roads. They made it 40 minutes before Sam saw the walker for the first time. It was standing beside the road, maybe 20 feet from the shoulder. Tall, at least 7 feet, and impossibly thin, like someone had taken a human form and stretched it vertically until all the proportions were wrong. Its skin was pale, the color of birch bark, and its limbs were too long, hanging down past where its knees should be. But worst was its face, or where a face should be. Instead of features, there was just smooth, featureless skin, except for 2 depressions where eyes might be. And those depressions were pointed directly at Sam's truck. She jerked the wheel instinctively, almost running off the road. Morrison's voice crackled over the radio. "Don't stop. Keep moving." Sam floored the accelerator, her truck fishtailing on the loose gravel. In her rearview mirror, she saw the walker hadn't moved. It just stood there, that featureless face tracking her departure. They made it to the ranger station without further incident. Morrison immediately got on the phone, calling a supervisor, while Sam sat in the break room trying to stop her hands from shaking. She'd seen it, actually seen it. Whatever the walker was, it wasn't her imagination or tricks of light and shadow. It was real. Morrison returned with a cup of coffee for her. "My supervisor wants you to stay here tonight. We have secure facilities and there's always someone on duty. Tomorrow, he's arranging for you to be driven to Richmond. That's far enough that the walkers shouldn't be able to follow." "Shouldn't?" Sam asked. "No one really knows the rules," Morrison admitted. "The old stories say different things. Some say you have to leave its territory. Some say you have to cross running water. Some say once it's chosen you, there's no escape at all. It'll follow you anywhere eventually." Sam spent a restless night at the ranger station, jumping at every sound, but nothing appeared. The next morning, a supervisor named Catherine Reeves arrived to drive Sam to Richmond. "We take this seriously," Reeves said, as they loaded Sam's belongings into an official vehicle. "I know it sounds crazy, but we've had too many incidents over the years to dismiss it. The walker is real. We just don't know what it is or what it wants." The drive to Richmond took 4 hours. Sam kept checking the mirrors, expecting to see that tall, thin figure standing at the roadside, but they made it to the city without incident. Reeves helped Sam check into a hotel, gave her a direct number to call if anything strange happened, and left her with a final warning. "Stay around people. Stay in populated areas. Don't go anywhere isolated until at least a week has passed." Sam tried to follow that advice. She stayed in the hotel, ordered food delivery, worked on her research data on her laptop, but she couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched. Even in a city of thousands, even with the hotel room door locked and chained, she felt eyes on her. On the 3rd night in Richmond, Sam woke at 2:47 a.m., the same time she'd heard footsteps at her cabin. She lay in the dark hotel room, listening. Footsteps in the hallway outside her room. Slow and deliberate, that same measured cadence, step, step, step. The footsteps stopped directly outside her door. Sam held her breath, staring at the door. The security chain was in place, the deadbolt locked. Nothing could get in, nothing should be able to. The doorknob turned, slowly, deliberately. Sam grabbed her phone and dialed hotel security, whispering urgently, "There's someone trying to get into my room. 5th floor, room 512. Please hurry." "Security's on the way, ma'am. Stay on the line." The doorknob stopped turning. The footsteps resumed, moving away down the hall. Sam heard the elevator ding, heard doors opening and closing. By the time hotel security arrived 2 minutes later, there was no one in the hallway. But when they checked the security footage, they found something disturbing. The cameras showed the hallway had been empty the entire time. No one had approached Sam's door. No one had tried the doorknob. But Sam knew what she'd heard, and when she opened her door the next morning to check out, she found something that made her blood run cold. A single footprint in the carpet outside her door. Too long, too narrow, exactly matching the prints she'd seen at her cabin. The walker had followed her to Richmond. Sam called Ranger Morrison immediately. He listened to her story in silence, then said, "It's the 7th night tonight. Whatever the walker is going to do, it'll happen tonight. You need to be around as many people as possible. Don't be alone, not for a second." Sam checked out of the hotel and went to the busiest place she could think of, the Richmond Convention Center, where a science conference was being held. She bought a day pass and immersed herself in the crowds, attending lectures, networking events, staying constantly surrounded by hundreds of people. As evening fell, Sam positioned herself in the main conference hall, where a keynote speech was about to begin. She sat in the middle of a row, people on all sides of her. The walker couldn't appear here. It couldn't reach her in a room with 800 people. The lights dimmed for the presentation, and in the darkness, Sam saw it. Standing at the back of the hall, motionless among the crowd, impossibly tall, impossibly thin, that featureless face pointed directly at her. No one else seemed to notice it. People walked past it without reacting, as if it wasn't there. Sam's breath came in short gasps. She stood abruptly, pushing past the people in her row, ignoring their annoyed protests. She had to get away, had to run, had to... She burst out of the conference hall and into the lobby. It was crowded with people milling between events. Sam looked around wildly, trying to find an exit, trying to think. But everywhere she looked, she saw it. Standing near the entrance, standing by the escalator, standing in the corner of the lobby, the same figure, or multiple figures, Sam couldn't tell, all of them perfectly motionless, all of them watching her. "It's not real," Sam whispered to herself. "It's not real. It can't be real." But she knew it was. A hand touched her shoulder, and Sam screamed. She spun to find an older woman in conference badge looking at her with concern. "Are you all right, dear? You look ill." "Can you see them?" Sam asked, pointing at the nearest figure. "Can you see that thing standing over there?" The woman looked where Sam was pointing. "See what? There's no one there." Sam's vision swam. The figures were getting closer now, multiple walkers converging from different directions, all moving with that slow, measured pace. The 7 nights were over. Whatever was going to happen was happening now. She ran, burst out of the convention center and into the Richmond streets. It was dark now, the city lit by streetlights and neon. Sam ran without direction, just trying to put distance between herself and the walker. But every time she looked back, it was there. Sometimes one figure, sometimes many, always keeping pace no matter how fast she ran. Sam's legs burned. Her lungs screamed for air. She couldn't run forever. She was going to have to face whatever was about to happen. She ducked into an alley to catch her breath, pressing her back against the brick wall. At the alley's entrance, backlit by streetlights, the walker appeared. Just one figure now. It stood motionless for a long moment, then began to walk toward her. Step, step, step. Sam had nowhere to go. The alley was a dead end. The walker was between her and the only exit. It approached slowly, those 2 long limbs moving with an alien grace, that featureless face never wavering from her direction. When it was 10 feet away, it stopped. And then it spoke. The voice didn't come from a mouth. It had no mouth. Instead, it seemed to emanate from the walker itself or from the air around it, a hollow, echoing sound that was felt more than heard. 7 nights, the walker said. 7 nights of observation. 7 nights of study. Now comes understanding. What are you? Sam whispered. What do you want? To see, to know, to learn what makes you run, what makes you fear, what makes you, you. The walker tilted its head, a movement that seemed to involve its entire upper body. You are interesting. Your kind always is. So brief, so bright, so afraid of the dark. Are you going to kill me? Kill? The walker seemed to consider the word. No. To kill is to end. I do not end. I preserve. It reached out with one impossibly long arm, and Sam saw that its hand had too many fingers, each one thin as a twig. The hand hovered inches from her face. I have watched you for 7 nights, learned your patterns, your fears, your essence. Now I take what I have learned. Now you become part of the collection, part of the memory of this place. The fingers touched Sam's forehead. Everything went white. Ranger Morrison found Sam 3 days later, wandering along a highway 20 miles outside Richmond. She was dehydrated, exhausted, and barely coherent. The police had been searching since she'd been reported missing from the convention center. Sam spent a week in the hospital. Physically, she was fine, dehydrated and malnourished, but no permanent damage. Mentally, the doctors weren't sure. She didn't speak for the first 2 days. When she finally did talk, her story was fragmented, confused. She remembered the walker, remembered it touching her. After that, nothing. She keeps saying the same thing, one doctor told Morrison when he came to check on her, that she was observed, that something studied her and took something from her, but she doesn't know what. When Sam was finally released, Morrison met with her one more time. She looked older than when he'd first met her. The experience had aged her, added a haunted quality to her eyes. I can still feel it, Sam said quietly. Even now, back here in the city, surrounded by people, I can feel it watching. Not like before, not like it's hunting me, but like it's checking in. Like I'm a book it read once and occasionally pulls off the shelf to skim through again. I'm sorry, Morrison said. If I'd gotten you out sooner. It wouldn't have mattered. The moment it appeared on my cameras, I was marked. The 7 nights were just procedure. It was always going to take what it wanted. What did it take? Sam looked at her hands, flexing her fingers as if they belonged to someone else. I don't know. That's the worst part. I don't know what it took, but I can feel that something's missing. Part of me. Some piece of who I was. Morrison had heard similar stories from the 2 people who'd escaped the walker before. They'd survived, but they'd been changed, diminished somehow, as if the walker had taken something essential and kept it as a trophy. Sam never returned to the Appalachian Mountains. She took a position at a university in California, as far from Virginia as she could get. Her research career continued, and to outside observers, she seemed fine, recovered. But sometimes, late at night, she'd wake at 2:47 a.m. and feel eyes on her, not threatening, not hunting, just observing, taking notes, checking in on a specimen it had cataloged years ago. And sometimes, when she looked in the mirror, Sam swore she could see something standing behind her reflection. tall and thin, with a featureless face. Just for a moment, just long enough to remind her that the walker was still watching. The observation never truly ended. It just became part of who she was. Forever. Dr. Samantha Cole still works as a wildlife biologist, though she never studies anything in isolated areas anymore. She keeps to populated regions, works with large teams, never spends a night alone in the wilderness. Her colleagues think she's just gotten more cautious with age, more risk-averse. They don't know about the walker. Don't know that Sam wakes up every night at 2:47 a.m. feeling watched. Don't know that she's seen it 3 more times over the years, standing at the edge of a crowd at conferences, visible for just a moment in reflections, always in her peripheral vision. The walker took something from her that night in Richmond. She still doesn't know what, but she knows it kept a piece of her, added it to whatever collection it maintains in the darkness of the Appalachian Mountains. And she knows that she's not alone in this. Somewhere out there, others who survived the walker's 7-night observation period are going about their lives, forever changed, forever watched, forever missing something essential they'll never get back. How many people has the walker observed over the centuries? How many carry pieces of themselves in its collection? How many wake at 2:47 a.m. feeling eyes in the darkness? The walker is still out there, in the deep places of the mountains, still choosing, still observing, still taking what it wants from those unfortunate enough to catch its attention. And the worst part, you never know you've been chosen until the first night you see it standing at the edge of your camp, motionless among the trees. By then, it's already too late. If this story has you sleeping with the lights on tonight, hit that subscribe button for more terrifying tales from America's deepest wilderness. And remember, if you're ever camping or hiking in remote areas and you feel watched, if you see a tall figure standing motionless in the distance, if you wake at strange hours to the sound of footsteps circling your tent, don't wait to confirm what it is. Pack up and leave immediately, because the walker doesn't chase. It doesn't need to. It just observes. And after 7 nights of observation, it takes what it wants, every single time.